insane? This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Tori. Today you're in for a little treat, maybe a big treat.
Why, because Tori's phone's ringing?
It is Tori.
Oh,
that's a video.
It was a dog climbing a ladder. I'm so sorry.
It's her ring camera, and
You're
it's a dog
welcome,
on
DBL
it.
Nation.
Sorry.
Wow. That's not the treat we were referring to. We're looking back at some of the best moments here at DBL. We don't hold anything back, especially when it comes to sex and relationships, and that was definitely true when it came to our discussion about maintenance sex. That's where couples agree to have sex, even if they're not in the mood. Watch. When you're a parent, maintenance sex.
Is that true? This is what
I gotta
happens.
schedule it in.
Scheduling it in.
Or I don't mean like, oh, here, 3 p.m. on Thursday. I just mean I have to be cognizant.
You wrote on your phone.
I think it's a great idea. Now, there's this thing of like maintenance sex to maintain your relationship, but also we need to remember that there's a lot of Americans that are on antidepressants. There are things that affect your sex life up and down through your life. Testosterone can dip. And so sometimes, like, if it's a constant issue, you should probably go see a doctor or have a discussion that might be uncomfortable. Like, hey, I love you, I want to stay in this partnership, but we might need to talk about another arrangement because I still have a sex drive and you don't. So it's a conversation for every couple.
Yeah, I think it's a real thing. You know, I just noticed from my own relationship, maybe you're fighting a little bit more. You get one going, and then the next morning you're like, hey, what's up? Do you need some breakfast? I'm going to go get a coffee. I'm like, we should do this more often. Really? It's like, it's a real thing.
It's absolutely a real thing.
Tori, do you understand maintenance sex? Because I know that you don't have kids.
I don't have kids, and so, for me, sex sells, a lot of it is in the brain. There's a lot that goes in for women, it's in the brain. So I want to be really into it and sort of part of it, and maintenance sex feels like I wouldn't get into it as easily. But maybe once I have kids, or if I have kids, I would need that.
Well, I think that's the idea of it. It's not always going to be ideal, like you're on a tropical island, but sometimes you just have maintenance sex.
When as a parent, am I ever just like chilling alone with my husband? It doesn't happen. I guess if we go away, and that's where hotel sex becomes a thing, right? People talk about like, oh, we got to go to a hotel to have sex because then you're away from the kids.
Your kids don't take naps?
No, Sophie's 4. Miles does.
Yeah, that's
but
what
Sophie's
the Lion King is for. Throw it on and head on upstairs. Like, what do you think these movies are for? Thank you, Ratatouille.
I feel like that sound comes on when Al's having sex.
Oh my God. It always gets so awkward, but but we become very childish when we talk about sex sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit. But Al keeps it real. Al shoots it straight when it comes to
It's so important, and people act like it's something that like you can give or take, but it's not. You got to talk about it. You got to schedule it, Sammy. 3 o'clock. Just like you said in the video.
I don't actually schedule it. I just have to be aware of it because sometimes I'm all about the kids.
Well, we're hoping you're aware it exists.
Of course I am. I need it too.
Yeah. Well,
Leave me alone. Somebody else go.
All right. Who could forget our discussion about who made the first move in our relationship? Since my wife and I got together on Big Brother, most of my moves were my moves. Sam knows where this is going. We're caught on camera.
Oh, God.
Here's what I've been most looking forward to because I've not seen this moment. Apparently, we have Jeff and Jordan's first kiss from Big Brother.
I have not seen this.
I can't wait.
It's embarrassing.
I really like Jordan. We've been in his house for a while. I was really shooting to, pull the romance card. I've been looking forward to kissing her, and tonight might be the night.
Oh my God, Jeff, I'm so not tired.
Like kissing Jeff. He is a good kisser. He's not sloppy, wet.
Oh my!
You dove in. I mean, you jumped in.
Hey, what are you got to go into the deep end and all in.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah.
So what did you do to pep yourself up, or was it spontaneous?
No, that looks like I creeped in with the night vision.
It did look creepy, right?
Like a creep crawling in there. But listen, we became friends first, and then we had that first kiss. That's as far as it went in the house. You know what I mean? So we kept it classy, but it was caught on camera. And I know it's embarrassing.
What did you say to kind of lock it down to let her know, like, hey, this isn't just something fun? I'm like, what did you say to be like?
Like, did you ask her to be your girlfriend? Your girlfriend?
No.
Yeah, I gave her my Letterman jacket.
Yeah, what is this, the 1950s? The Johnny Rockets?
Mark asked me to be his girlfriend.
What, did you have 2 straws and a strawberry shake?
Anyways, I loved can we see his picture, your Sugar Ray hair?
I just got out of bed.
Let's look at his Sugar Ray hair, please. in that interview.
It was the look of the time.
Okay.
I guess.
You had hoop earrings and your husband was in Blink 182.
Yeah.
My husband wasn't in Blink 182, but you for sure copied Sugar Ray's.
It wasn't as good as
Frosted
Sam's
Tips.
railroad.
You copied his
track.
I
Frosted
100% did, and it also was a combination of Ricky Martin's hair. Both.
We have a little side by side. Let's see.
Oh my God!
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
You took a picture of Ricky Martin to the hairstylist, huh?
It was kind of the same. Sugar Ray's was just a little bit longer.
Right, right.
You wore it well.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, good-looking guy, and it worked. You're with your wife to this day.
There was other people in the room.
Yeah, I
when
want
we were
you to
making out with Jordan.
Explain this.
Yeah, it's the Big Brother house. You know the concept? It's one house with like 16
So you're like, sure, I'm just gonna fully make out with her while other people are watching?
It was dark. They weren't watching.
They could hear.
Something else happened that I'm not allowed to talk about on TV, but someone else. How do I even say that on
We're
TV?
we're gonna continue on with
All right,
our
there we go.
relationship theme. Jeff and I got a chance to show our softer sides during a chat about how some men experience heartbreak harder than women.
I was brokenhearted, right? I'm very passionate.
Yeah, you're emotional.
Yeah, I'm very emotional. So like, I love hard, I hate hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
That's
everything
honest.
in between. So, do you think there is a difference between men and women when it comes to heartbreak?
I will say this, and I hate to kind of specify genders, but I do think that men overall, our behavior in relationships until we are ready to be a mature, functional part of that relationship is poor at best. And I'm being nice to the fellas. I'm including myself. I was terrible until like a couple years ago. So I think women from the age of, and that's why I'm glad they're specifying heterosexual,
Right.
women that have dated men since they were 13, 14, first boyfriend on through their 30s, are kind of used to like, okay, here's the one whose hat's backwards and plays video games, and this is the one that smokes weed as soon as he gets home, and this one never comes home and has a weird lie. I think they're used to terrible dudes, so they don't get as invested, whereas guys, when we go all in, we're like, I can't believe she left me. I think men, we can't believe that we've been left.
I think we are the exact same, men and women.
Yeah.
But society allows women to be more emotional and doesn't allow men to be that way. So now we're finding out, oh, they're more invested. That's because society has made you guys a tin lid. Is that a thing?
No.
Okay.
Tin lid?
like a.
Oh, I gotta go straight to
Okay,
teas.
never mind.
Coming up on DBL, the cost of cancer is way more than financial health. 3 women are working to clean up the cost for cancer patients. You do not want to miss this incredible story. And our interview with Dr. Drew and his daughter. We're talking about their book that's all about having tough conversations with your kids. That's next. Stay with us.
Do you make $75,000 or less? Democrats' new army of 87,000 IRS agents will be coming for you. That warning from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has people on social media worried that the IRS is hiring more agents to target the middle class. But that's not true. Using these sources, let me walk you through where that 87,000 number came from and what the IRS is actually planning to do. The Senate recently passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes $80 billion in funding to the IRS over the next 10 years. According to the bill, which was passed by Congress and is awaiting President Biden's signature, about half of that IRS funding would be put towards expenses for the agency's task enforcement services. And that does include hiring more people. But the bill doesn't specify how many people. And the U.S. Department of the Treasury says claims that new agents will be hired to audit the middle class are false. So where did that 87,000 number come from? Well, we traced it to this May 2021 report from the Treasury Department, which estimated how many full-time employees the IRS could hire over the next decade if they received $80 billion in funding. The Treasury is projecting that 50,000 IRS staff members will retire or leave the agency in the next 5 years, and many of the projected hires would be to fill those vacated roles. And not all of these new hires will be agents tasked with auditing. In a recent letter, IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig assured senators that the IRS would not increase audit scrutiny on small businesses or middle-income Americans. A spokesperson for the Treasury Department confirmed what the commissioner said, adding that new hires will include some new auditors who will focus on corporate and high-end tax evaders, as well as other staffers tasked with improving taxpayer services. So we can verify, no, the IRS is not increasing audits on the middle class, nor are they hiring 87,000 new auditors. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till. Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter helps you distinguish between true and false information by answering your questions. It provides fast facts on trending topics, spotlights major stories, and even includes a daily fun fact for all those trivia buffs out there. Get Verify's fast facts delivered every weekday to your email inbox. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
Welcome back to DBL. Remember hearing about the birds and the bees from your parents? Yep. We spoke to Dr. Drew Pinsky and his daughter Paulina about their book and why those conversations don't have to be so awkward. Here's a look back at our chat with them.
Yay.
Drew and Paulina, hi.
Hey guys.
Hello. Okay, so Drew, you've been talking about sex, and I've even been there right next to you on Loveline for years, but it didn't go that smoothly with your kids at first. That surprises me.
Well, I mean, look, when you're every parent has just produced a parent, so that's just, we tell the story in the book. The more interesting thing to me, though, is that in spite of these being topics that I've talked about for a long time, the conversation has changed a little bit. And we originally got involved in this project. The idea was sort of backing into consent, because that was pre-COVID. It was in the days of the Me Too movement. And I was like, young people are extremely confused about consent. And if we're going to approach that, I need a young person. And Paulina's a writer, and so I got her involved with it, and that was a very good move.
Paulina, you are brilliant. First of all, it's so good to see your face, and I'm just so proud of everything that you're doing, really. But I have to ask you, why were you so reluctant to hear about the birds and the bees from your dad? I mean, I get it, but tell us why.
Because everyone was hearing about the birds and the bees from my dad, and so everyone expected him to talk to me about it, and so I knew it was coming, and I knew that people were getting information, but I had no desire to hear that information.
I know. I would start. She would bounce forward with crazy questions. I go, okay, here you go, and she'd run away screaming. So, but listen, this book is not about that. It really isn't. We tell those stories, but this book is about how to have healthy relationships, how to navigate relationships and consent, all kinds of relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with adults, relationships with your parents. We really are focused. We're not focused on the biology in this text. We really are not, because that's out there. That's everywhere.
It exists.
Yeah, it's already out there, done. But this is, but this is about how to navigate relationships in a healthy way. So
ultimately, taking consent out of a sexual context and putting it into an interpersonal context teaches people how to practice consent before they get into a sexual context.
Yeah.
You were talking about consent over and over and over again. Let's talk about that. Paulina, specifically, were there times in your life where consent was an issue? And I don't mean even if it's a capital S sexual assault. I mean even just interpersonal, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think throughout my life, I learned different ways in which I did or didn't consent because we wrote this book. So obviously in a sexual context, I had blurry consent throughout college. I would use alcohol to initiate sex, and it left me feeling emotionally bankrupt and not good about myself. And then too, as a child, I feel like I was put into dynamics with older adults that maybe weren't healthy for me. And I didn't really know the signs and signals for what was an inappropriate relation. And so through writing this book, I think we are able to provide guideposts for people so that when they go through these relationships, they know when they're relating to someone in a healthy way or not.
You said something rather profound last time we were out talking about this book, was that if you'd had this in college, you would have avoided a lot of unpleasant situations.
Absolutely. I didn't learn about consent until orientation week.
Wow.
And, it was consent is sexy, no means no, yes means yeah. And that was it. And it wasn't a nuanced conversation. It was very black and white. And consent is an ongoing negotiation. It isn't something that you just give willy-nilly. You can take it back at any point if you're uncomfortable. And that's something that I really want to drive home.
And look, we get into everything. We get into gender, sexual orientation. We get into all the stuff that's so confusing for late adolescents, and really give them a frame to go after it and understand it in a comfortable way, a non-awkward way. So the awkward thing is not just about the parents, it's about navigating relationships before you really understand what you're doing.
Drew, what's up, man? This is Al Jackson. Really quickly, man, how you doing? We only got about 30 seconds. What advice would you give to people that are still resistant to getting the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, listen, the one easy thing for me, there's a lot to that conversation. I work with resistant behaviors all the time, right? People that want to keep doing drugs and don't want to listen to people. I know you go straight at them, it's the worst thing you can do. The one simple thing I would start with is saying, look, maybe you don't want to take the risk for yourself, but how about for the rest of us? We have an obligation to sort of make sure we suppress this thing from replicating so it doesn't form more an awful variant. So on behalf of everybody else, at least, maybe take a little bit of risk on your own.
Thank you for that. Drew, Paulina, thank you for speaking to us. I definitely believe that your book will save relationships. It will save lives. Great book. In fact, their book, It Doesn't Have to Be Awkward, is on sale now. Order your copy by going to drdrew.com/awkward. We'll be right back.
Few issues have Americans' attention right now more than inflation, which has reached levels not seen since the 80s. But President Joe Biden recently claimed good news, tweeting, quote, July's 0% inflation and last week's booming jobs report underscore the kind of economy we're building. But is that actually true? Was there really 0% inflation in July? Well, to verify, we went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Federal Reserve. Inflation is just a measure of how much prices are increasing. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks the price of common goods to create the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, and it measures changes in price both from month to month and year to year. So if you look at the month of July, you can see the CPI did not increase at all, meaning prices did not rise from the end of June to the end of July. So it is accurate to say there was no new inflation in the month of July. And Biden's statistic of, quote, July's 0% inflation is correct. But if you compare prices in July 2022 to July 2021, you'll see they increased 8.5%. The Federal Reserve says the ideal annual inflation rate is 2%. So we're still many times higher than that, and inflation is definitely still a problem. But it didn't become a worse problem in July, indicating it could at least be slowing down. Of course, because CPI is an index of a bunch of different goods, how inflation is actually affecting you will vary depending on where you live and what you buy. For instance, gas prices are going down, but food prices are still rising. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back to DBL. Cancer is expensive, even if you haven't experienced it personally. We all know the toll it takes on loved ones. I know I do personally. Earlier, Tori and I sat down with 3 angels, all cancer survivors, committed to making the cost of cancer less of a burden on those already suffering. They go by the Cancer Cartel. Here is another look at their incredible story.
I'm Carrie. I'm Katie. And I'm Shelly, and we are the Cancer Cartel. We are all 3 cancer survivors.
Katie and I were on our way home from another nonprofit event when the idea for Cancer Cartel was born. We were talking about the overwhelming cost of cancer, and we were also talking about our shared passion for luxury fashion, and Cancer Cartel was born. We got our 501c3 in October of 2019 and hit the ground running.
I came up with the name Cancer Cartel because I was trying to think of a name that was edgy and super tough like the 3 of us are. And I came up with Cancer Cartel. At first, these guys were a little scared of it. They were like, what does it mean? I said, it doesn't matter what it means. It's awesome. And it's taking 2 words that are super scary and usually wouldn't go together and just kind of flipping them around and making them awesome, I guess.
I am a skin, thyroid, and breast cancer survivor.
I am a lymphoma and skin cancer survivor.
And I'm a breast and skin cancer survivor. We all 3 had to make financial decisions while we were going through our cancer journeys ourselves. One particular story that really touched me when Katie was going through treatment, my sister, in the hallway I heard a woman speaking to a nurse about how she could not afford to pay her rent and the prescription drugs that she was supposed to be getting that day. And that just really touched me, like how hard this cancer really is, not just going for your body, but just the financial burden and stress it puts on you.
It's so important for us to do this because we have been there. We know exactly how toxic the financial stress of cancer can be. And there's so much in the media about research and funding, which we agree is incredibly important. But what there isn't is media attention and money for the financial impact, the increased living expenses, the day-to-day costs. And we're here to change that.
Carrie, Katie, and Shelly, welcome to DBL. Yes. Oh my gosh, we are so honored to have you here because we here at DBL love everything you're doing. And personally, I've got so much love for you ladies, and to our viewers out there who may not know, these three women helped my sister Monica battle breast cancer. So personally, thank you.
Oh, you're so
It is
welcome.
our pleasure. We're so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Wow. Well, what can you tell our viewers exactly, like what the Cancer Cartel is for those who are undergoing cancer treatment and how they may be financially struggling? Please, this is your chance to address the viewer who many of our viewers, I'm sure, are either going through cancer treatment themselves or they know someone.
Well, our mission is cleaning up the cost of cancer. And we do that in a lot of creative ways. Cancer is very, very expensive. But the main way that we do that is we accept luxury donated fashion items. Think shoes, handbags, clothing. And we resell those items and give the proceeds directly to people who are fighting cancer.
To receive one of your grants, you have to be a current cancer patient or have completed treatment within a year. We can only imagine what kinds of stories you hear from those who have applied. Is there one that like really touched your heart that you can share with our audience?
One woman especially that just touched us. She's a single mom of 4 young children. Her husband left her when she was diagnosed with cancer. Her son's birthday was approaching. He was turning 5, and she couldn't afford just a simple birthday gift for him. So, I mean, that's what she was reaching out. I mean, some of these things are just so small, but to her, it meant the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were so appreciative that we could help her and support her in that.
Now, you guys all three went through cancer treatment. So what was your breaking point when it came to paying for your treatments?
As you're sitting at home and you're seeing all of these overwhelming medical bills show up at your house, not only that, but your daily living expenses are dramatically increased. So you're faced with $500, $5,000, $10,000 bills coming in, but you're also paying for fuel back and forth to treatment. You're eating out more because you're at a hospital. And you might not be able to work. So compound that with the loss of wages, it's so stressful. Financial stress is the worst kind of stress. And if you're financially stressed, you're not able to get well. And we knew there had to be a better way.
You say beauty and philanthropy are at the heart of who you are. Why is beauty, I love that word, such a core part of what you do? What does that mean?
I think for all of us, it was important for us when we were going through treatment to get ready in the morning and put makeup on and get dressed. Sometimes, not for everybody, but sometimes if you look better, you feel better.
Yeah, right.
Me personally, I was bald. I had no eyelashes, no eyebrows, nothing. It was really important to me to put makeup on and get dressed. I had to go in every day. My battle was super long, so I couldn't work for a long time. And kind of to keep myself busy, I was buying luxury items, shopping a lot online anyways, and reselling them on eBay.
Smart.
And on other sites. So that's kind of we came up with Fashion Funds the Fight, and that's where Cancer Cartel was born.
DBL Nation, how incredible are these women? You can learn more about them, how you can help them by visiting Cancer Cartel's site at cancercartel.com. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
You've seen the photos, blisters and bumps on the skin, what many have come to know as the hallmark of a monkeypox infection. But does it always look like this? Our question, does a monkeypox rash always happen outside of the body? Our sources, Dr. Cameron Wolfe, an infectious disease specialist with Duke Health, and the CDC.
You don't need to have skin surface blisters. I think that's actually a big part of clinician education, is that it's not just the skin lesions.
Wolfe says sometimes the rash appears on what are called the mucous membranes. Those are the moist inner linings of some organs and body cavities.
They can be in the mouth, they can be inside the rectum, for example, they can be in the vaginal canal.
In fact, an early CDC analysis of monkeypox cases in the U.S. found the rash was most frequently reported on the genitals, with 46% of people experiencing that. The next most common places for the rash were arms, face, and legs. Wolf says it's why healthcare providers should be attuned to other red flags that might indicate hidden blisters.
Rectal pain, pain on defecation is a common way of finding.
So we can verify, no, a monkeypox rash is not always outside of the body, and doctors say knowing that might help some detect infections sooner.
You probably think of airbags as protection in case of a collision, not necessarily something that needs to be protected. That's why we're asking, why are thieves targeting airbags? How can you prevent an airbag theft? And what happens after your airbag is stolen?
It's not really an explosion, it's just a bunch of gases releasing in a pressurized manner in order to inflate a nice fluffy airbag.
To verify, we turn to Laura Garcia, automotive instructor at Northern Virginia Community College, the National Insurance Crime Bureau, and the Montgomery County Police Department.
Airbags are very expensive,
upping their value on the black market. And she says prices are currently inflated because of supply chain issues. And these stolen airbags can also be linked to insurance fraud.
Let's say a vehicle gets into an accident, an insurance company pays for a legitimate airbag, but here that shop maybe isn't that reputable and will just buy another airbag off the street for a much lower price. They get to keep that profit.
The NICB estimates 50,000 airbags are stolen each year, costing car owners and insurers more than $50 million, but costing criminals little time at all.
And voila! You have your airbag.
To deter possible thieves, MGPD recommends parking in well-lit, known areas, investing in cameras, alarms, or clubs, and always locking doors and windows.
Just sort of the things you would do to prevent general theft anyway.
And if you do get your airbags stolen, NICB says it's important to take your car to an automotive professional.
Airbags are inherently dangerous.
You'll also want to go to a pro if your airbag light comes on. It could be a sign of a faulty, fake, or improperly installed device.
Welcome back to DBL. We love hearing from our viewers, so let's hear what they want to know about us. We got a question from Amy for Jeff. Jeff's on the hot seat. She wants to know, if you could play any professional sport, what would it be?
Oh, this is an easy one. Thank you. First off, I'd play professional football. That's what I did growing up. But
played in college, but being older now,
never would play professional football. I would be a professional golfer. Longevity. It's raining. I'm not going out there.
Exactly. And you fly over the world.
Yeah, the best places, best courses.
What
in the
position
country.
did you play as a football player?
I played running back and strong safety.
Oh, Jeff, I want
What's
to
the
see
strong
footage
safety?
of
What's
you.
his job?
What?
What's the strong safety's job?
That makes sure that you receive.
You receive it safely. Very strong. Strong and safe.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you again, same time, same place.